Okay, for this first transformation, we're going to look at the process of mirror. So I'm going to take this polygon and I'm going to, in its slider and move it up a little closer. And I'm going to attach it to the mirror transformation tool. Okay, so what you should see is that a mirror has been generated. Now, if I click on mirror here, that's the one that's the mirror. This one is the original, okay? So what it's done is by default, it has set a plane running right through the middle, and that's basically the mirror axis. So if I shift over the Grasshopper window over here, and then I go to this 3D view. So again, I've got the mirror selected. The original geometry is this one. And what we're seeing here is this is the default plane that's generating this kind of mirror axis. Okay, so mirror actually is, looking for some form of plane, and there's nothing attached here. So that's why it is using this sort of default. The default is just simply running along 0 on this x-axis, a plane perpendicular to the x-axis on 0. Okay, now if you wanted to change that, you need to bring in another vector. So I should have had you bring this in when I had you set up, but we can do this rather quickly. What you're going to do is go to the plane panel under the vector tab. And you can see there are a series of planes. So if I wanted to keep it in the same orientation as I currently have, it would be this YZ plane. So I'm going to click on that and bring that in here. Okay. Now, all it's asking for is an origin, so a single point. And I can define that with an XYZ or just an XY. Since we're working in 2D relative to the XY plane, that's what I'm going to do. I could use, I could generate a point and bring in some sliders, but just for the sake of going through this kind of quickly, I'm going to type in a panel here. And this one will be an input panel. And inside, I'll double click, and I'm going to start with 1, 1. Actually, let's do X. This second number ultimately isn't going to matter. So I'm going to that, and then I'm going to connect it, and then I'm going to come and connect it into the plane input. Okay, so what you can see here, and this may be a little confusing what you see on the screen, my original geometry is here, my mirror is here. And now the plane has been moved to this point right here on the x-axis, but it's the YZ plane. So again, if I go over to my 3D view, you can kind of see this is the little point is 0, 0, 0. But I just created a new plane that's shifted over 1 unit. I could double click here, and maybe it will show a little bit better. Click on 2, 0, and you can see the plane shifted, and my geometry also shifted over for the mirrored version. Okay, so you could, I used a YZ plane, but that plane could be, running in this direction. You could choose from any one of these, but just to sort of illustrate how this works, I'm using, basically the same, something parallel to the same plane, but just shifted over a little bit. Okay, so that's mirror. And what you would want to do at this point, I'm going to go to this 3-panel screen. So this is a little bit bigger, and I'm going to bring this in as much as possible by itself. And, if you want, you can kind of take these and shift them down and, bring them into play when we're kind of working on those. But we want to get a good view of all of these parameters and components and make a screenshot. The screenshot should also include your name and transformations at the top.